Amigos do Mosaico, hoje no nosso jardim nós temos a honra de receber a Presidente Mundial da Wizo, a senhora Anat Vidor, que vai nos contar um pouco, não é muito comum ela estar no Brasil, ela vai nos contar um pouco os projetos que a Wizo tem, eu não vou dizer para o ano que vai entrar, mas para os próximos anos aqui no Brasil. Anat, thank you for finding some time to talk to us.
Absolutely, I love to talk. Yeah.
It's an honor to interview you. Tell us, what's the reason for being here?
Okay, so São Paulo, Brazil in general, is a very special community, I think, that remains strong ties with Israel. Even in times when you know your government is not the most supportive, I think the Jewish community is still vocal and still supports Israel without any contradiction whatsoever. As the Wizo World President, we have 38 federations around the world, and this is a time to go out, first of all, to explain to the communities and the Wizo members that Israel needs their support, but beside that we are there to support them in everything they need. So it goes both ways. Wizo is a Zionist movement.
Yes.
For and foremost. You know, we started as a Zionist movement in 1920, and we're part of the Zionist organization, the World Zionist Organization. So the first mission of us is Zionism. Now you'd say, what does this mean? It seems like such a vague thing. What is Zionism? What is Zionism for you? I'm going to ask the interviewer. Tell me what's Zionism.
Well, it's to defend the place where our forefathers were, and it's the only insurance that we really have in the world, and we got to be there for them.
You got to be there for them. And okay, so Zionism actually goes even deeper than that. Zionism believes that mutual responsibility is what actually gets us success.
Okay.
Now, what is mutual responsibility? Think about the Jews being prosecuted for 1,000 years. Blood libels, money lending allegations, you just name it. They killed Christ, 1,000 years. And every community vouched for themselves and defended themselves. Everyone was their own destiny. And you were under, you might be under a king or under a noble person in some shtetl in Poland, but you totally depended on the local defense of the goy that is your superiors in charge, exactly. And then something happens. In 1860, something happens. It's Damascus blood libel. So suddenly, 13 Jews are accused by killing a priest and his assistant. And for the first time, Jews in UK, Sir Montefiore, Rothschild, Adolf Cremier, they decide that's not right. Although it's happening in Damascus, this is something that can happen to us too. Yes. So they decide to go to the Turkish authorities. It's not even in their reign. They go to Istanbul. They vouch to defend these Jews. Doesn't matter, some of them died in torture. 13 leaders of the Jewish community that were arrested, but they were eventually acquitted. And then they realized, oh my God, if we stick together and vouch for each other, there is an opportunity. That's the change. Zionism is a change of consciousness, of understanding, of flipping the narrative. I do not depend on others. I can depend one on each other and on ourselves. So that's the beginning. And then the Zionist movement starts, and it starts as a crazy thing. You know, 3% only comes to Israel. If you sit in Odessa in 1882, you'll see 2 million people going to America and 60,000 to Israel.
Yes.
Of course, they're a minority.
Yes.
But the conviction of a movement is something very strong.
Let me stop you for a second, because we're going into history, but I would like to talk about the women.
Okay.
So for the people who are not aware of where we stand here and what we do.
Okay, so we went into history, just let me go back from there. So the Zionist movement is basically why do I go around the world? I go around the world because we have in our name Women International Zionist Organization. And Women International Zionist Organization actually started as a women organization because no one would accept them into the World Zionist Congress. They were women, so they actually started a party on their own, you know, in the Congress, and that's how they actually managed to have a voice there. And from 1920 onwards, they decide to get the world support, like Keren Kayemet did, you know, like every other organization, and actually South America is the first place they arrived to. from UK, and they start growing a movement here, getting women all over the world and saying you have to support the Jewish settlement, the women in the Jewish settlement. Now, why the women? Not because they were thinking gender equality. They said there will be no Zionism if families won't be able to live here. And what does family mean? Family is daycare, it's postnatal care, it's training the women to do agriculture because they have to take part of the mission. And in order to create a society, you have to take care of women and children. I mean, the chalutzim, the pioneers, they didn't think about that far. They thought, well, let's build roads, but then women can be very good in agriculture too. You just need to let them to know what to do. So we tried training camps. We made sure that everything for the family is actually set there. We started growing with the country. But so in reality, it's a women vision. In reality, today on the ground, we're the largest non-governmental organization in Israel, and it's a women's startup. Think about women in the 1920s without a voice, decide they're going to join the Zionist Congress. They come, they spread around the world, get money from all over the world, and start building institutions in Israel today that the country can't live without. So if you look at early childhood today, it's still in our hands. Think about it. 70 years later, we're still running the show.
Okay, let me jump.
Jump.
Let's jump to 2025. I understand that the Wizo has different projects. And some are newer, some are older, some are more traditional. I understand, or a little bird told me, that you came to Brazil with an idea for a new project. Would you like to tell us a little about it?
It's a new old project. It's actually not a new project. We step in beside our 300 projects in Israel that we can't release. Unfortunately, no one will take them, So beside that, we have responsibilities in areas that are very crucial and critical because we have the knowledge, we have the expertise, and we have the manpower to move and actually do it right. Okay. So it doesn't really always come because I have an idea, because the local municipality will come to us, because we already have the area there, because we have the expertise and we can actually make it happen. So we actually get approached a lot of times, and a lot of times we have to say, no, we can't step into this occasion, you know what I mean? We can't. What happened is Sderot, always, and if you hear the mayor of Sderot says, the mayor from 2013, Elon Davidi, he says very clearly, before the 7th of October, Wizo were here. Wizo were there because we're a Zionist organization. And if you look at the city of Sderot, it's the outpost in front of Gaza. This is a city that has to give services to all the settlements that were attacked now. Yes. We're going back to 20 years of rockets flying on the city. How will people stay in the city if they don't have the basic infrastructure? What is basic infrastructure? Sending a child to daycare. So in 2006, we built already 3 rocket-proof daycare centers.
Yes.
Can you understand the word I'm saying? Rocket-proof daycare center. It shouldn't be a combination ever, in any world.
No.
But this is what resilience means.
Yes.
This is the issue. We're going to tackle it because if kids don't go to daycare center, everything gets interrupted. People can't go to work. It's a ripple effect, Sure. And the thing is, 3 daycare centers raised generations of people that have daycare and kept life in the city. After the 7th of October, and then we realized, by the way, in 2009, it's not enough the daycare centers. People are in trauma. We need to create, today it's very much resilience post-trauma, but in 2009 we built the Open House, which is a trauma center for the kids. And actually you have photos from 2010. We teach the kids how to sing a song when they duck down. You can see videos from that. It's quite amazing foresight. And Elon Davidi said, no one came to the city before, but you were there. And we took care of the families and population, and we make sure there's life there. Comes the 7th of October, people are evacuated out of the city, and then they come back on March. When they come back, no one can open the facilities because the staff is not there. Wizo mobiled people from Tel Aviv on buses to open the daycare centers where there were no citizens there to say we're open. Our rocket-proof daycare center is open and the open house is open.
Okay.
That was, and that brought a lot of people back to the cities. Only 30,000 people live there. So they started coming back and giving the resilience programs there. And then we realized 4% of the population only got therapy in Sderot. 39% of the children are proven with post-trauma.
Yes.
Diagnosis. Only 4% we managed to get to. 4%, because the resilience centers can't get into it. The state controller took out this report. It's not our invention, No one can get to them, and a lot of people don't have resilience program. What is resilience? Going to psychologists? People don't think they're in post-trauma. The trauma is still happening.
Yes.
When you drive to Sderot, and I drive to Sderot, you can see smoke from Gaza. There sounds of fighting all the time when you're sitting in the open house, and I took a video there 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
This is still happening.
Yes.
So it's not post. Now we realize the open house is the place we can give the best effective therapy. We don't have time. And we're very specialized because we deal post-trauma all over Israel, because women violence, we have expertise group therapy is the quickest and the most effective. But not group therapy only. It's group therapy through play center, play therapy, art therapy, gardening, just name all the different. We work inside. We're getting a lot of partners in, and we're reconfiguring the center for 6 big therapy centers. Will be the biggest center for therapy in the South. And this is a Wizo project that is being reconfigured to deal hopefully in the next year with 1,500 people.
1,500.
That's a lot in population, because now it's 4%. Now 1,500, because you treat also one person, it shows on the family. And people come to therapy that's way more effective, because it's not one-to-one therapy. I want to just say this model has come to us from when the war started. We took on a project of reservist wives to handle all the, no one thought in Israel that the reservist wives that don't have a husband for a year and a half, they're going to be okay, A-okay. So we started groups, like mushrooms it started. We put a lot of money, it came from America, a lot of money into this program. We called it Homefront Heroes. And we started a national campaign of advocacy to the government. Now the Minister of Defense is joining us on it, because they realize they need the soldiers to they have to join in hand in hand. But that's the Wizo story. The Wizo story is finding a need and realize you might not be able to afford it. Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do, and then the partners will come, because no one will lift the glove. The government is not in a situation to create projects now.
Okay.
No one is. You need an NGO. And we feel responsible because we're an NGO that can do it. So what, I'm going to let a couple of $1 million stop me? I have all the infrastructure set. Yesterday I was sitting with someone, he said, do you have staff for the place? I said, staff is not my problem. I have staff, I have the right infrastructure, we have the organizational knowledge. I mean, Israel, the state of Israel listens to our programs. We change legal issues in Israel, how to treat women violence, how to treat trauma. We're lobbying constantly. We have the expertise. We've been advising so many, institutions, even workplaces, how to deal with violence. We are all over Israel. So we can put a blind eye to Sderot. I mean, because Sderot is Zionism. If Sderot is not safe, and people don't want to stay there, nowhere in Israel is safe. Yeah.
Anat, our time is short. I would like you to send a message to our people at home and all the other ones who are interested.
Okay, so I want to say something. A lot of people in the world, because I travel around communities and I hear from anti-Semitism everywhere, especially in Europe, and it feels somehow between Kristallnacht in many places. You don't feel it so much in Brazil, and luckily. The reality is that ask me, what do I need to do? And yes, Asbara helps, public diplomacy helps, but that's not going to be the solution. The solution is Zionism. And when I say Zionism, the Zionist mission did not complete its work with the state of Israel. It has to ensure that the state of Israel will be strong and survive, because only strength, inner strength, and strength around the community, common responsibility is going to beat what's happening now. That's the only reason, that's the only way. And the biggest proof for that is on the 7th of October, when we didn't even attack Gaza. There were the biggest riots around the world against us, and we didn't even shot one weapon because they smelled the weakness. When we showed strength, the demonstrations went down. So, yeah.
Okay, and how about asking people to join Wizo in Brazil?
Before, we're not an organization. Wizo is a Zionist movement that managed for 105 years to keep the responsibility between the Jews in Israel and in diaspora. Even in the Holocaust, Wizo women sacrificed their life to protect Jews, because they understand that Zionism, the mean of it is to protect Jews worldwide. And I say, if you're Jewish and you're a woman, you're a Wizo woman by default, because Wizo is the state of Israel. And if you're a Zionist, where are you going to go?
Anat, thank you very much for giving us an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. It wasn't an hour, it was that long.
No, not. But you said a lot.
I can talk a lot.
A lot of important stuff.
Listen,
and I hope we can have you again.
Yeah.
All right?
Listen, I'll come back. The hotel is good.
All right,
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Mosaico volta já já.